She's the blue-eyed bully in the boardroom.
You did nothing.
Deputy in America's most watched firing squad.
If you want to win, why would you keep your competition?
I have a business plan. Would you like to see it?
No. When it comes to the ice queen and the cold calculated, you know, I have to laugh at that to a degree. However, is that me in business? Sure. Yeah, I'm very matter-of-fact in business. And, you know, don't come into my office and give me an excuse.
And now, Trump executive Carolyn Kepscher has parlayed her newfound fame as an icon for the successful businesswoman into a book, Carolyn 101, full of tales from her on-the-job training with her billionaire boss.
Carolyn Kepscher, been with me for a long time. She's tough, she's nasty.
He writes in your book,
Uh-oh.
Carolyn is a killer,
I knew you were going to say that, yes.
with many men buried in your wake.
In my wake, yes, I've heard that.
Is this a compliment?
Knowing him, yes, knowing Donald, it's absolutely a compliment.
Carolyn truly was a real apprentice.
Carolyn went to work for Trump 10 years ago. She'd been in sales and marketing at a golf course that had gone belly up. And then Trump bought the property and determined to turn it around. She was just in her late 20s. With a college degree in marketing, she had little managerial experience and had never even played golf.
I was young, I wanted to get my foot in the door, and it was all about impressing him and doing whatever I can to make this property shine, which inevitably would make me shine.
Carolyn persuaded Trump to make her the club's general manager. And it's not what you're thinking, she says. She didn't get the job because this gentleman prefers blondes.
How do you respond to those who might say, well, she got the job because she was a pretty blonde?
I've never heard that before. How am I supposed to respond to that? He's a smarter man than that.
She is a pretty blonde, but I didn't see her prettiness. I saw her intelligence.
In effect, you required much less of her in terms of experience than you require of your candidates on The Apprentice.
Well, she had a certain smartness. She was smart. She was cunning. She was tough. She saw men fail, and she thought she could do it better than the men, and she did.
A self-described workaholic, Carolyn says running the golf course took a lot out of her at first.
I was putting in crazy hours, and at times that I go home at night and just, you know, cry on my husband's shoulders or say, oh God, what am I doing? What am I doing? I was given this opportunity. I was not going to fail.
Just absolutely not an option.
Failure was not an option.
I'll never forget the scene of Carolyn cooking hamburgers. The chef didn't show up, and she was cooking the hamburgers. I said, this is my manager. That's what it's all about.
In a year and a half, Carolyn says the golf club went from more than $500,000 in the hole to close to $1 million in the black. Now she's presiding over a total transformation of the property into a luxury course complete with multi-million-dollar homes and host to luminaries including Michael Jordan and Bill and Hillary Clinton.
Did you call Jim Dowd?
Her business card now reads Executive Vice President, and she's running 2 golf clubs with real estate property worth more than $250 million.
So you've proven yourself.
Yes, I most definitely proven myself.
Her book is chock full of nuggets on how to get ahead, including there is no room for emotion in business, always anticipate your next move, and never be afraid to state your true worth. But if she sounds secure, apparently when you work for Donald Trump, you're never 100% sure.
You write in your book that you're a straight shooter.
Yeah.
But when you were pregnant,
Yes.
you write you waited 6 months until you were showing.
Maybe I
and
wasn't a
couldn't
straight shooter
hide
then.
it
I don't
any
know.
further to tell Donald Trump that you were going to have a baby.
Yeah, I was about 6 months pregnant when I told him. I thought, oh, if I tell him I'm pregnant, he's going to think, oh, this is going to be a long 9 months. So if I tell him at 6 months, it'll be over in 3 months.
You were worried that he might feel inconvenienced.
Maybe, in my mind, he might think this would perhaps be a setback, or maybe I'm going to have to bring somebody in to replace her throughout her pregnancy or when she takes a maternity leave. So, I mean, I'm human. These things certainly went into my mind.
And it turns out her instincts were right.
Well, you know, pregnancy is never, it's a wonderful thing for the woman, it's a wonderful thing for the husband. It's certainly an inconvenience for a business. And whether people want to say that or not, the fact is it is an inconvenience for a person that is running a business.
Hi, guys.
Facing the dilemma that confronts millions of American women, Carolyn says her own choices were easy to make. In her book, she writes that juggling work and family is not a moral issue, that women should do what feels right.
How much time did you take off for maternity leave?
I took off full-time 3 weeks and then part-time after that.
You didn't feel any conflict about going back to work so soon?
It was comfortable for me. I'm not saying that's the right decision for everybody. And what makes mommy happy, makes baby happy. Do I feel guilty about it? I mean, I certainly don't. I worked very hard to get to this point. The course was just coming into construction. I was going to see it through fruition.
Do you think she felt pressure to come back after 3 weeks?
I don't think so. I think she loves her job.
She wouldn't have felt a need to do that because you might have replaced her otherwise.
No, although it's an interesting premise. Maybe she should feel that way a little bit, but the fact is that would not have happened.
Carolyn insists she has always made it a priority to put her family first.
There's times where I will take the day off during the week, because I can't always take the time off during the weekend, and I will pick up Connor at school, and we'll spend the day together, and it's called Connor and Mommy Day. And that's our time. I've read a book to the class. It's the mystery reader, so I'm very involved.
You played football.
She says she gets lots of help from her husband, George, who manages construction projects, and that she has found competent, loving childcare for son Connor, age 4, and 2-year-old Cassidy.
You got a babysitter for Saturday?
Yeah, Victor's gonna watch the kids.
Which makes it all feel a lot better during those long hours away from home.
I have never in my life worked 40 hours a week, I don't think.
Meaning you've always worked more than 40.
Anywhere from 41 to at times, 80 hours.
As a working mom and the only woman helping to oversee the boardroom brawls, one might think she'd be inclined to go a bit easier on the women. Or is it the opposite?
Heidi, in the time that we've been here, I have yet to really see anything out of you.
So do you feel you can really relate to children with comments like that?
No.
I'm embarrassed to be a businesswoman right now.
Me too.
Are you tougher on the women candidates than you are on the men candidates?
I know I was accused of that, but I am absolutely going to say no. Why can't you women get along? I mean, this
It's amazing. My biggest mistake on this job interview is not...
Jen, easy.
I think she wants to be maybe tough on them because I think she feels that they should set a higher standard than the men, and that's her thing.
And of course, last season, at Carolyn's urging, a female team was chastised for using sexuality to get ahead.
Things like that aren't going to get you the job here.
Now, just out of curiosity, what's wrong with using sex to sell?
Sex does sell. Sure it is, but what you're telling me on this 13-week interview process that you have nothing better to show me than the fact that sex sells? Be a little more creative. Can we see something else? Really?
Now, you write that you hate firing people.
Let me clarify this. Who likes to fire anybody? But some are no-brainers.
Jennifer, this is really easy. You're fired.
Do I sit back and say, oh God, I feel terrible about this? Not all the time. If anything, maybe I'll turn around and say, God, I hope this person learned.
Carolyn says in her decade with Trump, she's learned some things that everyone should take to heart.
I'm very tough, and I think I need to be. If there's one thing that I've learned from Donald, it's how to make a decision, make it fast, and stick with it.
She says she's quite content staying with the Trump organization for now.
I see no reason to leave, but I'm 35.
Carolyn Kepcher's not the only one from The Apprentice working both the boardroom and the bookstore. There's been an avalanche of business guides from the show's team. Last season's cast member Amy Henry and last year's winner Bill Rancic have both published new books. And the Donald himself is out with his 6th next week.